Right. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. It is with great pride and heartfelt enthusiasm that I, Manas Balsara, a student in the BBA LLB Honours Program at DM Harish School of Law, HSNC University, Mumbai, and currently interning at Jehani Legal, as well as a member of the Zoroastrian Alliance of Lawyers, extend a warm welcome to you all to the second session of ZAL. ZAL, co-founded by Advocate Jamshed Mistry and Advocate Rashna Jehani, is a remarkable platform that unites members of the legal fraternity, not only by profession, but also by heritage, shared values, and a collective vision to give back to our community and beyond. We are privileged to have with us Advocate Rashna Jehani, founder Jehani Legal and co-founder of ZAL, who will be moderating today's session. A seasoned corporate lawyer with over 12 years of experience in mergers and acquisitions, private equity, joint ventures, banking and startup advisory, she holds a double master's in law from Columbia School of Law and an MBA from SP Jain School of Global Management. Beyond her legal practice, she is deeply committed to financial literacy and women's empowerment. These dialogues transcend mere professional networking. They celebrate our ethos, a reflection of our identity, commitment to justice, and the legacy we hope to leave as Zoroastrian legal professionals. It is now with great privilege and honor that I introduce Ms. Pervin Taleyarkhan, an accomplished legal professional and a leading voice in the field of intellectual property law. Ms. Pervin currently serves as a legal counsel at Whirlpool Corporation, where she handles a broad range of intellectual property matters, including patents, trademarks, open source software, and international legal agreements. She's a proud alumna of Purdue University, holding a degree in chemical engineering, and earned her Juris Doctor from the Indiana University Robert H. McKinney School of Law. Beyond her corporate achievements, she is also an adjunct professor and director of the Intellectual Property Clinic at IU McKinney, actively contributing to the academic and professional growth of law students. Ms. Pervin's leadership extends into the legal community as the current chair of State Bar at Michigan's Intellectual Property Law Section and editor-in-chief of The Landslide, the ABA IP Law Section's flagship publication. Her outstanding work has earned her several prestigious recognitions, including being named among Crane's Notable Women in Law, the ACC Top 10 30-somethings, and the Outstanding Young Zarathustri Professional by the World Zarathustri Chamber of Commerce. She is also deeply involved in community service through leadership roles in Zoroastrian legal organizations such as WZCC Chicago and ZEDF, and is a dedicated mentor committed to nurturing future leaders in the legal profession. We are indeed privileged to have her among us today, and we look forward to benefiting from her wealth of knowledge and experience, which we are certain will enrich our conversations and inspire us all. Before we start the panel discussion, I'd like to explain the structure of today's session briefly. The moderator will be asking a series of thought-provoking questions to our esteemed panelists. The session, we will be dividing it into two parts for a seamless experience. We hope today's discussion fosters not only a meaningful dialogue, but also a renewed sense of purpose and community among us. Thank you. Now I would like Advocate Rashna Jehani to carry forward with the first question.
Sure. Big thank you to Manas for this kind introduction and setting the session in motion. Also, deep gratitude to our esteemed guest, Pervin, for agreeing to be with us today. We for this session, despite her busy schedule, work commitments. But I'm very sure that this session is going to be very valuable to all our listeners and viewers. So thank you for the same. And let's begin with part one. So, Pavin, if you could just tell us, as a starting point, a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing, what exactly inspired you to pursue a career in law? Were there any sort of influences, whether it's on a personal level, cultural level, even academic, that probably drew you particularly to this profession that you then decided to pursue?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question, and also thank you, Rashna and Manas, for having me here, and of course to the ZAL for organization for, of course, what you're doing, and again, having me as your second session panelist here. So to answer your question, it was about my path towards the law. It was definitely not a straight one, and as it is with most people, there's peaks and troughs, and it's never a straight path towards wherever you're meant to head, right? So I started off in I think as far as I can remember, as wanting to become a physician, and that hopefully helps explain the chemical engineering background rather than doing something in the political sciences. Where I grew up, my parents are both from Mumbai, immigrants into the United States. Father had come for his graduate studies, and then he got a job here in the US, and then came back, married my mom, and then brought her back with him. And then myself and my sisters followed, and we are the first generation born in the US. And so being from India, and of course being Zoroastrian, you do want to, one, create a positive impact wherever you go. And at the same time, you want to have, and I think I was very fortunate that my parents wanted us to be in what we call here in the US. I don't know if there's a global equivalent to this, but it's the STEM disciplines: science, technology, engineering, and math. And that is an area where I think that women have a lot of opportunities these days. And so my parents, even some 30, almost 40 years ago now, they had recognized that, hey, we want to have our children have as many opportunities as they can in the future. So they said, okay, and I was also fortunate further that our schools had tried to instill some sense of purpose and direction very early on. It's arguable as to whether it's too early and how early it is to start saying, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? But the parents answered that question in our school instead of the students. So I to this day, I still remember my father saying, okay, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Pervin, you want to help people, right? Okay, you want to be a doctor. That was the first answer that's pretty typical, right? It's not too different from most people's stories. And so first 21 years of my life ended up being geared towards becoming a physician. And in the US anyway, there's probably, again, equivalents globally, but I'll just explain how it was from my perspective. In the US, you can't just say, okay, I want to become a physician. You have to show volunteer, work. You have to show your absolute passion and interest in that field, right? So we did volunteer work. We did so many different types of research. My father then, just before we were to join college, he got a job at Purdue University, which as a professor, and so being close to college going years, he said, okay, I think I'll take this job. And then of course the children all had to go to Purdue, right? And that's where I said, okay, Purdue is known for engineering, and I want to be a physician. I still at the time wanted to be a physician, or at least I thought I did. And so I said, okay, let's just do some research work. And I had a lot of fortunate opportunities that I took. I think that's the biggest difference between me and a lot of my other classmates, is that the opportunities were there. It's that you take them, right? So in my case, I had an opportunity to work with one of the pioneers in cardiovascular engineering work. And through him, actually, this is where I'm going, where I first got introduced into the law is through patent work. And what some of the work that we were doing, we tried to have it patented. And of course, I couldn't get my name on a patent because it wasn't inventive enough. But I did get introduced to the fact that, oh, there are lawyers with technical backgrounds. That's part, all it takes is to plant a seed, right? And so from there, I said, okay, I wasn't quite ready to say, okay, let me switch gears into law. But at Purdue, they also had, and you mentioned Rashna, entrepreneurship. There was a very heavy push at the time for entrepreneurial studies, and also just becoming more entrepreneurial in spirit in general, no matter what your field, science, the liberal arts, and of course, engineering. They were encouraging you to become an entrepreneur, or at least understand how difficult it is, which I don't have to explain to you, to be successful in business. And so there was where I said, okay, there's many different ways to help people. And again, this is where you take opportunities that come your way, even though they don't necessarily fit exactly with your field. Like if I was saying, okay, I'm an engineer, or I want to be a physician, let me not, I don't think I'm going to take this opportunity. It's entrepreneurship, it's business. What do I want to do with that? But no, I took these opportunities. I said, if I'm going to make my mistakes, let me make them in school, right? In college, rather than out in the field. So again, I took those opportunities, and I was not very good at like my business plan competition presentations or anything. But again, it did give me the appreciation for when people do it, to recognize when people can do it well. And I said, what kind of role can I play to help make someone successful, to bring a product that we're researching onto the store shelves or into the consumer's hands? And so again, getting a glimpse into that aspect of entrepreneurship and again, business in general, that was what at least sparked in my mind, hey, there's another world out there beyond just being a physician. And again, not by saying just being a physician, I'm not trying to degrade at all that field. That is difficult and it's hard. And I didn't. I just couldn't see myself in it anymore. And then again, and I keep on bringing up moments when that I was fortunate. I think that we're all fortunate in many ways. I think we just to also recognize when we should take certain opportunities. So I did get the opportunity to present in front of some very big name companies because they were sponsoring a lot of our engineering projects. So some of our design projects, in order to graduate from chemical engineering at Purdue, you present your work to some very big, very generous, I would say, donors who were also fellow alumni who wanted to just come and again just pay it forward, right? So we presented to these people, and then they came and talked to me and said, but you have a really great ability to speak and to present. And that was very new feedback for me. I was always so fixated and laser focused on becoming a physician and working in labs and things like that. You don't see certain talents that you may have until someone, and it takes to someone of that caliber to recognize it for you. And so I'm not kidding, that thought kept of I don't think I want to be a physician. I don't think I want to be a physician, kept nagging at me for a long, long time. And then the day before I was to walk at my graduation ceremony, I told my parents, I don't think I want to do medicine anymore. And of course, they're in shock. And they said, "What do you want to do? You are graduating. You have nothing. You have to find something to do with your life. You know that, right? And you're not done just because you graduated." And so I said, "I think I want to go." I was thinking at first business school might be a good option. Then I at the time it was there was a very big presidential election happening. It was between Barack Obama and Rashna. You'll probably recognize the name Mitt Romney because he's from that area of the country where
Yes.
you to your master's in law,
Yes.
and regardless of where you stand on these two candidates, Mitt Romney, and of course, I try to know my candidates on both sides. Mitt Romney is a successful businessman. And once I read into his history, I found out that his father did, of course, fund his education, as many parents do. But he said to his son, "You are not going to do just your MBA. You are also going to get a law degree." And the reason was that he said the skills that you learn, even in law studies, advocacy, again, a general appreciation for the fact that there are laws, there are rules, there are regulations, thinking like a lawyer, that is going to help you become a successful businessman. And I said, all right, it worked for him. I guess whatever works for him. And those are skills I knew I needed. I recognize not just, made my decisions not from where my strengths were, but from where my weaknesses were and where I needed to develop more. And so that's where I said, I don't think MBA school is going to be is going to help me the way I think it's going to help me. And so I said, I'm going to go to law school. And there was that was the path that led me to law school. And of course, my parents, God bless them, they did not understand and they expressed disagreement with this decision, but they did stick by me and supported me throughout and in the 12, 13 years since I graduated. So I am very blessed there as well. But that was my path to the law. Again, long answer to it was definitely not a quick, okay, I think I want to be a lawyer from the beginning of my my life. So
No, thank you. This is such a great insight, I would say, on how best somebody could probably navigate finally into realizing what they want to do. Of course, it's a culmination of many factors which you mentioned, starting with having a very supportive, academically inclined family, to of course having that kind of an innate desire to contribute, be helpful, at the same time having the right kind of opportunities. The most important thing being, I think, the fact that overcome challenges, rather see them as opportunities, and of course draw learnings from not just what your strengths are, but the weaknesses as well, as you very rightly pointed out. So I think all in all, this was a great learning for all of us. Listening to how you finally made that decision to, and of course, it was not just luck. It is hard work as well that you would have definitely put into after the whole, you know, uh, sort of struggle or studies with regards to becoming a doctor, but then sort of navigating towards wanting to be a lawyer. So thank you so much for your insights on that. And yeah, now I think the second talking point that we would like to bring up is, how would you, I mean, so being a part of a minority faith, as a Zoroastrian in US, how would you have integrated, I would say, your values, the Zoroastrian values, beliefs, in your professional life, before that would be, and even now, your academic life, if there would be any anecdotes or moments where you feel the faith has, in that sense, helped you to guide whatever actions or decisions you would have had to take, as a part of your work or your academics.
it's a good question. And I think, and I had this discussion with some friends of mine, Zoroastrian friends, a while ago. And where I grew up we grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee. And of course, we are a minority in general within the world. Within Knoxville, Tennessee, it's heavily Christian, heavily Christian, as far as the faith goes. Very tolerant people. I'm no criticism whatsoever of the society, but because they are also themselves only exposed to other Christians, people of the Christian faith, to say to somebody, okay, what is your faith? Are you not Christian? Why aren't you going to church? Well, that's because I'm not Christian. I'm Zoroastrian. And we were the only family in that area, within, I think, hours of driving. So, I mean, you can just imagine trying to grow up as a first generation born in another country, and then further trying to explain your faith to others. So the best way that I can describe our faith, the Zoroastrian faith, is that, yes, of course, we believe in good thoughts, good words, good deeds. But so does every other faith, right? I don't know a faith that, and this is where some of my friends who are, who were my Christian friends in Tennessee, when they said, explain your faith, we always say good thoughts, good words, good deeds. But that's how is that different from what other faiths teach, right? There's no faith that says bad words, bad thoughts, bad deeds. But I think that the way to describe it, once you really understand our prayers, once you understand our customs, it's all about the action. It's not just about, okay, I sinned, so I'm gonna be forgiven. No, of course we will be forgiven in the sense, it's not, excuse me, it's not like it's totally detrimental. I don't think any Zoroastrian priest would say, okay, you're going to hell or something if you sin. But it's about doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. In our in our prayers, the basic Hashem Vahu Yathau Verio prayers, Hashem Vahu is all about truth. Yathau Verio, the way in which of course, I'm not going to profess to be an expert, but my understanding of the Yathau Verio prayer, which are, I think, arguably our two most powerful of our prayers, it's about helping people. And so in law, we hold the key to very, very important vehicles of making people's lives easier, resolving conflicts. And in doing that, you also have the ability, it's almost like a knife that you're holding in your hands. You can use it to create something of extreme value and to help people. You can also use it to hurt people. And so I take that very, very seriously. We all have taken an oath, right, to try and uphold the law. The law is there to try and make and ensure order and ensure ultimate, like a net positive for the world. And so in that regard, the whole tenet of doing good for the sake of doing good, I think is something that plays itself into my life. It played itself into my life academically, but definitely within my profession. Among and Manaz, you had very kindly given an introduction to my current duties, but they've since expanded, and I do now a lot of transactional work in the data privacy area, what we call indirect procurement contracts, anything that keeps the lights on within the company, be it IT services, HR, audit, tax services, anything. And then, of course, the finished product sourcing, direct procurement, buying parts for our appliances, for example. There's so many different companies that you can imagine that we interact with and that we try to contract with. There's so many opportunities to try and hurt someone, to say, okay, we are the giant. And of course, I'm speaking my own thoughts, not those of Whirlpool Corporation, but at the same time, I think that Whirlpool would also agree with me when I say we're trying to do the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. Our company motto is integrity, and there is no right way to do a wrong thing. That's one thing I love about the company, is that we try to hold true to those values, which I think are in parallel with what the Zoroastrian beliefs are as well. So I hope that I've answered the question, but that's how I think our prayers and how our faith has made its way into how I conduct business and try to hold true to those beliefs.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't be more right, I would say, because I was just, in fact, hearing one of our priests explain the significance of Ashimbo and Athaverio just a couple of days back. And he exactly pointed out the same thing which you highlighted with regards to Yathaverio and Ashimbo being prayers, Yathaverio more specifically, to help those in times of need. And then he sort of related that to an incident wherein when we came down from Iran, our ancestors, and that was the prayer they actually recited when there was a lot of stormy weather, and they wanted to get from Diu to Gujarat. So that's during that time, it was this prayer which actually helped them navigate through the stormy weathers. And then the fishermen who were on a neighboring boat heard them. So they, in fact, want to take inspiration, and they pleaded our Zoroastrian ancestors to actually continue reciting this to help them also navigate through this. So what Dastuji was trying to explain is, depending on the people or the need of the hour, the number of yatha various that you even recite actually help and magnify the kind of impact that you can have in that particular moment or incident. So yeah, and of course, it completely resonates with me when you say that it's actions over, of course, words and thoughts do matter a lot as well, but actions definitely matter the most. So that should actually be something that should take precedence in our lives over, yes, of course, praying and thinking good is definitely the need of the hour, going to your agyari, but doing the right thing is equally important in today's day and age as well, and especially when you throw light on, I think, the data privacy things, how important that is. Maybe we can actually have another separate session on importance of data and how important is the privacy angle, or the aspect of it, especially in today's day and age when technology and AI specifically is taking so much precedence and being such a big disruptor. Yes, for the good, but again, the ethical angle is something we can definitely talk about and understand better as to where it's going in today's day and age. So thank you so much for your insights on the second one. I think we would just probably wrap up this session, and we would have to commence the second one with our third question, if that's okay with you.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, Manas.